Welcome, everyone. We will be small but mighty today. I think mighty in our open mic, mighty in our poets, and mighty for everyone who is turning out at this time of year for poetry, which is a wonderful thing. Yes. Yes, we are recording. So welcome to Fairleigh Dickinson University. We're very proud to host Poets Corner. This will be our last reading of 2022, which has been an eventful year. Before diving in, I want to acknowledge that we're on the traditional and unceded territories of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. As well, our web hosting is all being channeled through the traditional territories of the Lenni Lenape people in Hackensack, New Jersey, for which we are very grateful. So it gives me great pleasure now to introduce Renée Sarojini Saklikar. She is the author of the groundbreaking book Children of Air, India, that won the Canadian Authors Association Poetry Prize and was shortlisted for the Dorothy Livesey Prize. Her second book, The Revolving City with Wade Compton, was a finalist for the City of Vancouver Book Award. And her Listening to the Bees with Mark Winston won the 2019 Gold Medal Independent Publishers Book Award. Bramah the Beggar Boy is the first volume of her epic fantasy in verse. Topic near and dear to my own heart. Thought J back, which I will let her unpack and explain. With no further ado, I will turn the floor over to you, Renée. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Pleasure. I'm so grateful to be able to share from this very long epic. Thank you, Ryan. That was an amazing reading. And I felt my body and my soul go into some altered state. And I can't wait to actually see the book that holds these two long poems. And kudos to our open mic readers, to everybody here who have invested in time and space for the long. Bramah The Beggar Boy is volume 1 of The Heart of This Journey Bears All Patterns, an epic that's over 1,000 pages and divided up into books. So Bramah The Beggar Boy is book 1. I'm about to release this year, next year in the spring, later in the spring, book 2, Bramah's Quest. And Bramah herself is a semi-divine locksmith, time-traveling, helping seed savers and resistors in a planet ravaged by climate change. So I'm just going to read you a little sampling from this epic. Most of it is told in verse. I won't get into talking about the different forms. There's lots of poets in the audience, both virtually, many I see, hi Steve, on the screen, or here at Fairleigh Dickinson. Thank you so much, James, for that lovely introduction. And thanks to Poets Corner. Okay, so here's a little sampling of this very long saga. One afternoon, in an old house in an abandoned village on the outskirts of Perimeter in the place they call Pacifica, Bramah and the Beggar Boy find fragments of an ancient text in an oak box. Hunched over scraps of parchment and broken computer disks, they blow the dust off a cover. And so our story begins. Hologram message from the past. I will be so silent. I will be that space hidden in stone, quarried deep, found, forgotten, discarded, found again, the stone, thumb to forefinger inverted, the stone tossed to groundwater, ancient well, hidden in a forest, the stone, igneous rock spirals and turns, deep and drop, I will be the quiet of a forest, outside the gates, citadel city oblivious to pine needles, flesh of animals after fire and ash. Wind swept, churned still, I will be the morning long after an ambulance cries, close, closer, this devastation, a heart explodes, blood in microseconds, blood without defibrillator, without another hand to touch. I will be that quiet in the absence just after, unseen, unfelt, but still present in a hospital, in a morgue, in an upstairs bedroom, in a library, an office where in silence I will etch parchment fingertip to stretched skin. I will fade with each surface breath, brushing time deboned, reimagined, the city to those outer precincts, a skeleton found outside the well, outside the forest, in mountains that loom at first far away, then closer, where the city breeds noise but contains dry silences, where a bird sings liquid, 2 notes, dropped into morning, ice in the face of a sun, such melting, a space, and I will hang in those pauses, incomplete, but ready, fragment of melody, singed, corroded, punctured, long gone, forgotten, remembered. I will be so silent, settled along the riverbank, city with its back to the ocean at night. A storefront illumines garbage containers, a lone seagull's raucous appetency. Feed me, I will be that silent, unending night. Long after a bridge collapses, after tenements tumble, water at the water's edge. The tide carries stillness at the edge of sound, edged with want, lap, 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 water's rhythm layered over earth's shudder, under the water stagnant, the well fathomless, forest floor braided, extended into the city. I will be ever present, a sounding line, an echo, long after you've vacated any office tower. Rooms emptied, files, papers, pens, long after the last goodbye, staff dismissed, long after you've packed boxes, carted, hauled, lifted, unplugged phones, laptop folded in half, cell phone snapped together, shut, a borrowed device, number now defunct, long after you've driven off, license plate unknown, home number unlisted, long after you have departed, I will be that lonesome ride on the road alongside the river where vibrations linger, east, west, the street more deserted, more silent than the emptiness drawn from silence, full and empty, full and empty. I will be that silence always waiting and the only way out. The summons, Bramah on a job. Every siren in perimeter sounded an alarm. On that day arrival, although no one knew who they were, small woman with a boy. She from around here? Asked the settlers one by one. Their voices even toned, their eyes stone cold, gaze fixed on Bramah's well-oiled leather satchel. Usurpers, what response might they expect? Settlers at perimeter's edge. They wait. Bramah's slant smile, radiance as a foil under her brown hands, hidden from sight. Her Pippin file, her keys and her drill, codes, spells, and chants to unlock any treasure. Street beggars, boys with brooms, girls with swords, from their bruised mouths, parched lips, masks torn away. Until the rains arrive and we survive, wash your hands, use your sleeve. Trust us now, you'll never have to grieve. At the 5th gate, transport drivers lounged, troop guards to inspect, their hands to scrounge. Bramah on contract, her face smooth as silk. That beggar boy trailing behind, that last drop of milk. The 5 catastrophes. By water, the soul, tsunami, seepage, cascading, eroded. By fire, the eyes, scourged, singed, blasted, burned to melt. By earth, the body, trembling, split, collapsed, on knees, tumbled and crushed. By wind, the voice blown, sifting syllables, winnowed circumference made square by 4, ripped, torn, worn, how it were the battle of Kingsway and after. The letter they find, dear future survivors, our only defense against gas, frayed scarves, no mistaking the color of our skin. We would search October and April, and then we would find no traces of doors or gates, or doors only where locks turned, then jammed, eyes scanned for re-entry or bribes or bodies. We are sending you this message in case, although you are 3 light years away, we found these fragments, an old oak box. It's a strange one, no matter how often emptied, something always at the bottom, no matter how ill-treated, no scuff marks mar this plain, smooth lid, open to this letter. See, the writing has almost disappeared. Overheard. Small, wiry, brown-skinned, yet British, sly too, quick, skilled with lock and key, long black hair, braids touching her leather pack-sack, tools plus lasers, all the latest gadgets for openings, no lock that ever met her hands, too tough or sticky. 1,000 scrapes, she dodged them all. One soldier from the before time even called her Kalo. No one ever knew why, just laughed. She collected nicknames, light year to portal, them hard ones, April, June, September, the worst. In the nick of time, a turner of bad odds, her body in the line of any fire, her cheeks scarred, smooth skin though, and the softest lips. Tattoo on her arm, Ishmael, Joe, and laughed. The good doctor, witness to the fate of children. I refused to stop posting health records, premature babies, their third eye bulging, consortium banned all clinical trials. One by one, the beggar children lined up. They thought cooperation meant hot meals. Trembling, blood spattered, I wrote out their words. My eyes filled with their tears. That was the moment, I told them later. They looked up and smiled. Shadow walker, they called me. My hair plaited with smoke, ash, biscuits on my tongue, dissolving grief. Left to die in the middle of the road. Left to die in the middle of the road. This they repeated just under their breath and said, who will come for us? The children asked me. My gaze steady, I told them only death. Resistor statements pinned to Cyborg 6, third attempt, connection intermittent. A millionth of the cell's volume spiked, circ. We thought this won't happen to us. And then our bones irradiated light, sparse, cold, almost transparent. We just drifted across sector turnstiles, those no-go zones. We paused at the great gate called destruction. We found fluttering in the wind scraps of paper. We found stray and stained those ripped masks, sodden with rain. We found matchbooks gripped in swollen fingers. We lit every affirmation burnt to a crisp. We coughed, our lungs swollen, droplets of blood. Sit back and enjoy the ride, transport workers told us. Prisoners on those planes, portal bound, we, the forgotten, all our stories gone. Battle song of the streets, we that assemble, consortium band, Cardos, Stipes, Gallia, we whispered. The city, our essence, cacophony, pitched battles, informers, and, well, miscreants. Our footsteps crushed wild time, boots, cracked cement, ropes to scale upwards those high walls. We wanted to be counted, yet deplored repetition. stick to stick beatings, blood. Remember what I said about coughing? Children as young as 10 years old screamed, freedom fighter, terrorist, who's right, who's wrong? IED, baby, your bombs, our arms. Boom. When they came for us, our bruised hands held pass cards once coveted, once accepted at the steps of public buildings where scores of protests put down. Many generations later, outside perimeter walls, beggar boys, sword girls too, battling guards of the fifth gate. There came a time when soldiers rode, guns cocked. By then, everyone yelling the same words, right? IED, baby, your bombs, our arms, boom. IED, baby, inside, outside room. And then those children crying, masks ripped, torn, freedom fighter, terrorist, who's right, who's wrong? We just want to eat, been so long. The battle of the whispering trees, and after, everyone sidestepping everyone else, that long, steep fall down, 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 where no birds sang, or only the one. Everyone keening the same old song, full-throated, ice-hacked, that lake sly as sin, entrapped, they'd say later, diaphanous. Locked doors, footsteps echoing, a hand raised, voices recorded on tape, suitcase lost, banquet table regulars. We sat full those several trips. An array of choices, special occasion parlance, gleaming knives, our eyes held, shining skin, bright hair. We made sure, oh, but we never, we made sure, oh, but we never. Bramah, we said, take us with you. And she did. From the medical records of Bramah in the year 2050, barrios, camps, outside perimeter, lineups, designated areas, under the bridge. A young girl, her name forgotten, no one calls her. She is never spoken to. Small build, dexterous, black hair, eyes slanted at their corners. She never laughs, head bent most times. She builds things. She calls them finds, her teeth, bones unexamined. Her six-wheeled machine, scrapped aluminum, prized at the site where once Safeway, the Battle of Kingsway, a song. Fireside, she calls her toy, no one around curious enough to ask. Unnamed, without words, her fingers tap, pause, tap, pause, dot, dash. Long miles away, further down the coast, at Consortium Lab, KTS, the designers study data, fascinated, curious, and excited, all their codes. Bramah tells us we must leave. Oak and throw down split acorns. We run to catch and hold catalpa, pendulous green overhangs. We trip and fall. We get up again. Cedar, scent, remembering, forgetting, scent. Panting, we rub our ankles. Elderberry, a cordial. Goblets of fire. Bramah's aim is true. Down the guards and up they go. Linden, that long avenue, shaded on horseback and tanks, unrelenting. Laurel, that time of the hero's return. Bramah binds and carries and finds the spot. Bramah wipes away blood from her shoulder. Oak and cedar, we fight back tears. Bramah tells us, you have to find your names. Midnight, years later, eons forward, we'll run tundra, we'll fall on our knees, still get up, run to the gate of the winter portal, find the boys, find the girls, find the in-betweens who sing until the rains arrive and we survive. Until.